4 a.m. on the Maine coast and the dock is already alive. Lobster fishermen don't wait for the sun. They're in the water before it rises and they're hauling traps before most people pour their first coffee. These hands have been tying bait bags since age 12. 300 traps on the boat before departure. Each one weighs 50 pounds empty. Loading them is the first workout of the day. The sea provides the second, third, and fourth. Fuel is the first expense and the last thing that gets cut. Running out of diesel 20 miles shore with 300 traps in the water is the kind of story that ends careers and marriages. Bait, fresh herring and mackerel, 400 pounds of it. Lobsters smell prey from a quarter-mile away in still water. Lines off at 4:22 a.m. The dock lights shrink behind them. The harbor closes around the running lights and then the open Atlantic is ahead, dark, cold, and completely indifferent. Fog closes the harbor down to 50 yards. The captain navigates by radar, by memory, by the feel of the current under the hull. Out of the fog and into the open Atlantic, the horizon stretches away in every direction and the scale of it hits you fresh every single morning. The boat is small, the ocean is not. Sunrise on the Atlantic, one of the few moments on a lobster boat when nobody is working. It lasts 4 minutes before the captain calls the first trap position and the day begins for real.
First trap position, let's go. Transit prep, every tool in its place before the first trap comes up. Banding pliers on the right, gauge beside the bait bucket, gloves on both hands. Hesitation with a lobster in your hand is always painful.
From above, the boat traces a straight line toward the fishing grounds, 18 miles offshore, where the bottom drops from 60 feet to 120 and the lobsters stack up on the edge of the ledge. 300 traps across 40 square miles, the captain knows every one of them by position, depth, bottom type, and recent performance. It's not a map, it's a living document updated with every haul. The last coffee before the first trap. After that, there's no sitting down, no standing still, no comfortable moments. There's just the next buoy and the next trap and the next and the next. The first buoy, bright orange, faded by sun and salt, bobbing in the chop 200 yards ahead. The captain lines up. The crew moves. The day starts now. One throw, one catch, a smooth morning. The line drops into the hauler block and the motor engages. 80 feet of rope coming in at speed, and somewhere below, a trap is rising. 80 feet of rope at 150 feet per minute, the trap comes up fast. The water surface breaks and bulges and then the trap appears. Yellow wire, dripping dark green with sea growth, and inside, lobsters. First trap of the day and they're in there, dark greenish black, antenna waving, claws working. A good sign from the very first haul. The day has potential. The door swings open and everything inside comes out. Lobsters, crabs, sea urchins, fish, starfish, seaweed. On a lobster boat, what you keep is much less than what you sort through. Pick it up behind the claws, the only safe hold on a live lobster. The tail curls with surprising force. The claws spread and search. This is a large one, at least 4 pounds. Carapace length, eye socket to the top of the tail section. Legal minimum is 3¼ inches. This one measures 3½. Legal, keeper. Claws get banded immediately. Rubber bands over the claws. It looks like a small thing, but those claws can exert 100 pounds of crushing force. Banded lobsters are safe lobsters, and safe lobsters reach the market alive. Buried female, thousands of eggs under the tail. Back she goes, immediately. And first, a V-notch cut in the tail fin, a permanent mark that tells every lobsterman who catches her in future to release her.
Maximum size limit, this lobster is too big to keep. Seems backwards, but it's not. The largest lobsters are the most productive breeders. Protecting the giants sustains the whole fishery.
In slow motion, you can see the tail snap. One powerful muscle contraction driving the animal straight down at speed. In 3 seconds, it's 30 feet deep. In 10, it's gone.
Rebait takes 40 seconds. Experienced hands know exactly how much bait goes in the bag, how to secure it so it doesn't wash out, and how to close the trap door without pinching a finger. Back in the water, the same spot or close to it. Lobsters are territorial. If one was in that trap, others will investigate the bait. The grounds reload themselves if you respect the cycle. The rhythm of lobster hauling: haul, sort, bait, drop, move. Haul, sort, bait, drop, move. On a good day with good traps, the crew executes this cycle every 3 minutes for 8 hours straight.
The bycatch, everything that comes up that isn't a legal lobster. Green crabs, rock crabs, urchins, sculpins, every one of them goes back alive. This boat doesn't waste what the ocean offers. Spider crab, a big one, occupying the whole trap and probably keeping the lobsters out. Annoying, but he goes back in the ocean. Everything that comes up in these traps has a right to the sea. The live well keeps the catch alive in circulating seawater from the moment they're banded. A dead lobster before it reaches port is a loss on every level: quality, price, and reputation. There it is, the first true giant of the day, 6 pounds, maybe 7. Claws the size of a man's hand. This animal is older than most of the equipment on this boat. Into the tank it goes.
Double parlor trap.
2 chambers, 2 sets of entrance funnels, 2 chances to capture. When both sides are loaded, it's the kind of haul that justifies getting up at 4 a.m.
That's a great day.
The deep ledge, 150 feet of dark, cold water where the giant lobsters live. They're down there because nothing bothers them at that depth. Getting them up requires different rope, different patience.
150 feet, the hauler works noticeably harder. The rope comes in slower. The lobsters that live at this depth are older, bigger, and they fight the surface more than their shallow water cousins. The deep trap surfaces and the difference is immediately visible. Thicker sea growth, darker shells, and lobsters that are simply in a different size category than what comes up from 60 feet, 8 pounds. Both hands needed to lift him safely. This animal is estimated to be 50 to 60 years old, older than this boat, older than most of the crew. He gets the same care as a museum piece. Paired trap, male and female sharing the same space. In mating season, large females are found with large males. Check her for eggs, check his carapace, band them both, and both go to the tank. Empty trap. It happens. Lobsters move with the temperature, the current, the moon phase, the pressure. An empty trap isn't a failure. It's information. Move the string 50 yards east. At 80 feet, a lobster has been living on this rocky bottom for 20 years. The bait scent reaches it from 100 yards away. The trap funnel is wide at the entrance and narrows inside. Simple and perfect. Even in the trap, the hierarchy maintains itself. The larger lobster displaces the smaller one from the bait. Dominance is constant. Lobsters establish order wherever they are. 10 traps in a string, the boat works its way down the line like a thread through a needle's eye. Each trap a bead. The crew doesn't think about the next trap, only the one in their hands.
1 claw regenerated. It happens when a lobster loses a claw to a predator or a fight. The new claw is smaller at first and grows back over years. This animal survives something significant.
2 inches long, maybe 2 years old. It'll take another 5 years before it's legal. The crew returns it the same way they'd handle a seed. Carefully, because everything the fishery is depends on what that small animal becomes. Blue lobster, a genetic mutation affecting the protein that produces pigment. 1 in 2 million lobsters is blue. The crew goes quiet when this one comes out of the trap, then back it goes. Banding at speed, when the traps are running hot, the banding station is the bottleneck. A fast bander can do a lobster in 4 seconds. Slow down here and everything behind you slows down. Half full, 80 lobsters in the live well, 220 more traps to haul. The captain does the math in their head. If the average holds, they'll need the whole tank and then some. Rogue wave from the northwest. The deck goes ankle deep in Atlantic seawater for 3 seconds. The crew doesn't drop the trap and they don't stop the hauler. The wave drains. The haul continues. American eel in the trap. They slip through the entrance funnels easily and they don't leave the same way. This one coals on the sorting table while the lobster gets measured. The eel goes back. The lobster stays.
110 lobsters before noon, on pace for one of the better days this season.
10 minutes. That's the break. Not because the rules require it, but because the captain insists on it. 10 minutes of stillness in the middle of 8 hours of work. The ocean looks different when you stop moving through it.
Tide change. The buoys swing around and the current reverses. Captain, the buoy house, everything shift to breaks as every project changes web.
Copy that, Captain. Adjusting now.
The afternoon squall is a summer Atlantic specialty. It builds in 20 minutes and it hits without negotiation. The captain reads the clouds and makes a decision.
Haul fast! Race against the squall. Haul the next 3 strings before the weather closes in. The crew shifts to emergency pace. The traps come up faster. The sword is faster. The drops are faster.
The squall arrives like a thrown bucket. Horizontal rain, wind doubling in under a minute, the sea surface going white. The crew keeps hauling. Squalls pass. Traps in the water cost money.
Tangled warps. 2 boats' trap lines crossed underwater, probably from the tide shift. You don't cut another man's gear. That's a law and a code. You untangle it, carefully, even in the rain. Drifted trap. The buoy came up 300 yards from its set position. Could be current, could be a passing boat dragging it. Either way, it comes up from wherever it is. The rope is still there. Got it. Marking the new position in the log now.
The squall passes as fast as it came. One moment gray and violent, the next sunlight bouncing off rainwater on the deck. The crew shakes the water off and picks up exactly where they left off. Another boat, 200 yards off, working the same fog, the same grounds, the same fish. There's room on these grounds for both, and the radio crackle confirms they know it too.
Copy that.
Cut line, clean cut, not fraying. Someone took this trap or cut it free deliberately. The captain marks the position and makes a note. The conversation will happen on shore. Rock snag, the trap is caught under a ledge 90 feet down. Running a slow circle to change the pull angle. Crushed trap, a dragger's net, or an anchor did this. The frame is bent completely flat, the mesh shredded. A $60 trap is gone. The crew removes the hardware and the buoy. Nothing useful is wasted. Spring tide running hard. 3 knots of current pushing the boat off every trap. The captain fights the wheel. The crew angles their body to the current. You work with what the ocean gives you. Harbor porpoise, a small pod working the same water, probably following the same bait fish the lobsters are attracted to. They surface in their arcing rhythm and the crew grins without looking up. 4 o'clock and the light goes golden. 60 traps left in the count. The captain runs the math. 3 hours of daylight, 2 hours of haul time at current pace. It works. They push on. 5 legal lobsters in a single trap. That's a landmark haul. Maximum catch per trap. The crew doesn't celebrate, they move faster. If this trap had 5, the next one might too. 12 traps in a row, all above average. The captain marks the coordinates with a circle. A hot set temperature breakout on the bottoms. More traps move here tomorrow. 15 pounds. Both of us needed to get it out of the trap. The claws alone are 12 inches from base to tip. This animal is probably 80 to 100 years old. Some things you just stop and stare at. Too large to keep. The maximum size limit exists for exactly this animal. This is the breeder of breeders. The fishery's future is in those claws. Watch it go and be glad it exists.
Extra large bands for this one. The standard ones won't clear those claws. A 10-pound lobster is at the upper end of the banding tool's range. It gets banded twice per claw, just to be sure.
On the ledge at 120 feet, lobsters moving in slow patrol, following the scent trails that define their territory. They've been working this same rock face since before the boat above them was built. Soft shell, they just molted, growing a new and larger shell underneath the old one. Beautiful and fragile and worthless right now. Everyone goes back. They'll harden in 6 to 8 weeks, come back then. 2 people, 1 system. Years of working the same boat means they move without talking. Sort passes to band passes to well, the empty trap passes back for bait, it runs like a clock. Next. 140 lobsters in the live well, 60 traps remaining. If the second half of the string performs like the first, this will be a banner day. The crew doesn't say it out loud. You don't tempt the ocean. Spiny lobster, found occasionally when the deep traps come up from the transition zone. No claws, spine covered, different species entirely. Back it goes. The Atlantic lobster in the same trap stays. Eagles follow the lobster boats. They've learned the routine. When a trap comes up, there's always something returned overboard. The crew tosses a sculpin and the eagle doesn't miss. Paper chart alongside the GPS. Redundancy is seamanship. The plotter could fail, the chart never does. The captain marks every productive trap location on both, old school and new school at once. Unbanded lobster making a break, fast across the table, faster than you'd expect something that size. Ow! Caught barehanded, one claw finds a gap in the grip. Brief but instructive contact. Banding immediate. The afternoon string is 30% better than the morning. Same grounds, different depth. The temperature break is running right through the afternoon string. Tomorrow the morning traps move here. A harbor seal has been following the boat for the last 6 traps. They learned that traps mean bycatch in the water, a free meal. This one is bold enough to come within 10 feet of the hull. Last 20 traps! Let's go! Pace is picking up, keep it coming! 7, 16, going faster now! Almost there, last string hauls fastest! Finish strong! Last trap of the day, always a 2-second pause before opening. Some days the last trap is empty. Today it has 3 legal lobsters. The day ends the way it began, with lobsters in the boat. 178 lobsters, well above the daily average for this boat this season. Last trap in the water. Every trap back in position, everyone freshly baited. The grounds are set for tomorrow and the traps will fish through the night. The boat turns for home. West toward home and straight into the sunset. After 14 hours on the water, there's nothing to say. The boat runs home and the light does everything that needs doing. The home dock at dusk. The processor's lights on, the dock worker already waiting. The boat comes in slow and steady. After 14 hours, a careful docking is still a careful docking. The live well opens and the grader goes to work. Every lobster comes out. Every lobster gets graded by size and condition. Select, market, cull. 3 grades, 3 different prices. 3 grades, select, market, cull. The price difference between select and cull can be $2 a pound. Careful handling from trap to tank means more selects and more money per pound. 178 lobsters, 247 pounds live weight. The scale doesn't lie. The buyer records it on the receipt, by grade, by weight, by price per pound. The day becomes a number, a good number. The processor's holding tank, 1,000 lobsters from a dozen boats, all live, all maintaining condition in 50-degree flowing seawater. This is the lobster's last stop before becoming someone's dinner. The processor runs 2 shifts, live lobster out the front to restaurants and markets, cooked and picked meat out the back to food service. Every lobster in this building has a destination before it arrives, live to cooked in 12 minutes, 212 degrees of steam.
The bright red color develops in the first 3 minutes. By minute 12, the meat has set perfectly. Time and temperature, nothing else. The steam releases and the color hits you. That brilliant red, that specific shade that only exists in a perfectly cooked Maine lobster. It's the same red that's been selling lobsters for 200 years. Lobster picking, the most skilled and underappreciated job in the seafood industry. A fast picker does 10 pounds of meat an hour. The hands learn the grain of every claw and every tail. Pure muscle memory. The tail pull, you crack both sides of the shell, apply even pressure through the underside, and the tail meat comes out in one perfect piece. Takes 10,000 tries before it looks that easy. Claw meat, the sweetest, densest meat on the lobster. The crusher claw is cracked with a mallet, one controlled strike. The pincer claw split with a knife. The meat from both is the prize. Quality light inspection. Every container passes under a bright light before sealing. Shell fragments, discoloration, quality issues, anything less than perfect gets pulled. The standard never negotiates. Overnight air freight, lobsters packed in seaweed and ice for maximum transit survival. These leave Maine tonight and they're on a restaurant menu in Chicago or London tomorrow. The chain is that fast. Live shipment prep, each lobster wrapped in wet newspaper to keep gills moist, packed individually, gel packs for temperature control. A live lobster can survive 30 hours out of water if packaged correctly. Blast frozen cooked lobster, vacuum sealed before freezing, locks in moisture and freshness. At minus 40 degrees, the quality freezes in place. Defrost it 6 months later and it's the same day it came out of the ocean. Nothing wasted. The shells and bodies that remain after picking go into bisque stock. The processing facility extracts value from every part of every lobster that comes through those doors. Cold storage, 34 degrees, organized by grade and date, first in, first out. The cold chain management is as important as the fishing itself. One temperature failure and the product is gone. The settlement ticket, weight, grade, price per pound, total. The captain reads it twice and folds it carefully. After fuel, bait, and ice, the day's profit takes shape. A good shape today. Post-day washdown, the live well cleaned, the deck scrubbed, the banding station rinsed, the hauler block oiled. You bring the boat back the way you'd want to find it in the morning. After a 14-hour day on the water, the captain comes to the workshop and builds traps. Not because it needs to happen tonight, because the hands need to work and the trap building is meditative. The funnel, the most critical component of the trap. Too wide at the narrow end and the lobsters find their way back out. Too tight and they don't enter. The angle is everything. Bent frame straightened, new mesh in the damaged panel, door rehung on new hinges. 45 minutes of work and a $60 trap is back in service. The fisherman's economy runs on repair, not replacement. Buoy painting, every lobsterman has a registered color pattern, like a brand. Repaint the faded ones or the pattern blurs and your buoys get confused with another boat's. Identity matters on the water. New warp rope, 120 feet of yellow poly for the deep traps, 80 for the shallow. Measure it, cut it, whip the ends. Bait delivery, 400 pounds of frozen herring for tomorrow's sets. Fresh bait every day, no exceptions. Old bait loses its scent trail. Lobsters that can't smell the trap, don't enter the trap. Thanks. Trap relocation planning. 40 traps moving from the underperforming northwest string to the hot zone identified this afternoon. 2 hours of chart work to improve tomorrow by 30%. Banding supply check, 500 bands, 2 complete pliers, 2 spare springs. When the traps are running hot, the banding station processes 200 lobsters in a day. Run out of bands and everything stops. 300 haul service on the hauler. Fluid change, filter swap, hose check. The hauler runs 300 cycles a day at peak. At that pace, maintenance isn't optional, it's survival. Escape vents, required by law, actually useful in practice. Juveniles that exit the trap grow into the legal harvest. The vent is both a regulation and an investment in the next generation. Morning. How's the herring supply this season? Strong run, 40 cents a pound, but the freshest you'll get. Quality's worth it, same as last season? You got it, 15 years strong. Traps are pulling good, where are they moving? Deeper water, past the ledge, temperature break is key. I see, I'll set there tonight. Good talk. Anytime, stay safe out there. Bait prep starts at 3 a.m. 300 fresh bait bags prepared before departure. The bandsaw runs in the cold dark, the bait bags fill in sequence. By 4 a.m., everything is ready. 47-point pre-departure checklist. Engine oil, hauler fluid, live well pump, e-perbs, flares, survival suits, navigation lights, VHF radio, fuel level, side well pump, and jump lead checked. Day 2 and the boat heads straight for the hot zone. The afternoon data from yesterday points to one area, the temperature break at 110 feet on the northeast face of the underwater ledge. 40 new traps in the hot zone, soaked since last night. The captain has an internal prediction. The average should be above 5 lobsters per trap if the reading was right. Time to find out. Whoa, this is heavy! How many are in there? 7 legal lobsters! Yes! The trap said it all!
15 traps averaging 6 lobsters each, 90 lobsters from one string. By noon, the daily total has already exceeded yesterday's full day count. Something special is happening on this ledge.
Live well's filling fast. Check capacity. 300 max, we're at 220, 80 traps left. The math is getting interesting, keep them coming. We'll make it work, next trap coming. Doc, this is the captain, live well's maxing out.
Copy, gets a free transfer. Quick drop.
Copy, heading in for 40 minutes. Early offload? Sweet.
20 minutes dockside, 180 lobsters transferred. The captain is already back at the wheel before the last one is in the holding tank. The remaining 60 traps are still out there, so are the lobsters. Back to the grounds at full speed. The remaining 60 traps have been soaking for an extra 2 hours. If the morning performance holds, the afternoon numbers will be significant.
The afternoon haul confirms the morning wasn't a fluke. The temperature break is holding the lobsters on this ledge in unusual concentration. The scientific reason matters less than the practical result. Heading home twice in one day, not a thing that happens often on a lobster boat. The crew rides the stern and nobody speaks, and that's its own kind of communication. A very good day. The 2 receipts add up to a number the captain hasn't seen in a single day before. It doesn't change anything about tomorrow. The traps go back in the water at 4 a.m., same as always. The boat is ready for tomorrow. The record day is recorded and done. The captain walks off the dock and the night closes over the harbor. At 3 a.m., it starts again. It always starts again.